Hello, hello, and welcome back to our annual tradition. Folks, as we come to the end of 2025 and look forward to 2026, we once again come to the end of the 50th anniversary of a great year in music. That 50th anniversary being the 50th anniversary of 1975. 1975 was not quite as good as some of the previous years of the 70s, but it was still plenty strong. The 70s were still plenty strong. There were still plenty of excellent albums being released, and we're going to start by, bands that I've heard about and, albums that I've heard, and slowly work our way to what I think are the better albums. But starting off strong, with AC/DC putting out two albums in 1975. Granted, those were released in their homeland of Australia only. But in the beginning of the year, they released their debut album, High Voltage, and later in the year, they released TNT. Which was the start of them kind of making the same album over and over again for a very long time. This was of course before the death of Bon Scott. So Bon Scott was the vocalist on these two albums. Also, in 1975 was Physical Graffiti, Led Zeppelin's double album, where a quarter of it was material recorded at the beginning of the decade. Yes. A progressive band now, a prog band now, Kansas, released two albums in 1975. This is when Kansas was still a prog band. Song for America and Mask. Song for America is pretty decent. Mask, I haven't heard, so I can't really report on that. Leonard Skinner released Nothing Fancy. Let's see. Another debut, Journey, came in and released their self-titled debut album. Camel released Snow Goose, and Frank Zappa released a studio album and a live album, One Size Fits All, and Bongo Fury. Bongo Fury is where Muffin Man comes from. Black Sabbath released Sabotage. Gentle Giant released Freehand. The Who, whose several members had released solo albums, including Keith Moon. The Who released The Who by the Numbers, and Queen released A Night at the Opera. Now we can get into more of the prog bands. A band which was on tour at the time but didn't have a studio album to release, but several members, both foreign and current, both at the time former and current, released solo albums. Like the Myths and Legends of King Arthur by Rick Wakeman and Fish Out of Water by Chris Squire. Let's see. King Crimson, who had disbanded in 1974, released their last major release until the early 80s, USA, which was a live album documenting one of their tours in the United States. Bad Company released their second album. They're not a prog band. I just realized I missed that. I think I talked about Snow Goose by Camel. Jethro Tull released A Minstrel in the Gallery. This was their first of their post-progressive rock years, but still was decently proggy enough to have me put it in the progressive rock category. In the Genesis camp, Genesis were kind of going through a shakeup at the time. They had finished the Lamb Lies Down on Broadway tour, the last scheduled show actually being canceled. Peter Gabriel then proceeded to leave the band, and the band really didn't know what to do. They did start working on new material, but a lot of that was written without Steve Hackett, as he went off to make his first solo album, actually being the first Genesis member to release a solo album, beating both Anthony Phillips and Peter Gabriel by 2 years. with Voyage of the Acolyte. I think that, yeah, and of course, Rush came in and released 2 albums, Fly By Night and Caress of Steel. Both albums are great and brilliant, and this and Fly By Night was their first album with drummer Neil Peart. And of course, the best album of 1975, Pink Floyd, on September 12th, released Wish You Were Here. One of several of their great masterpieces, an album containing only 4 or 5 songs, depending on who you ask, and just a brilliant, brilliant album with another brilliant, brilliant album cover. And that does it. That closes out the first half of the 70s, and it also, at least in this particular series on this channel, and it also closes out the first half of the 2020s. We have officially entered the mid-20s, folks. And they're roaring in a whole different way than they were 100 years ago. Thank you all very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it. If you want to continue along this musical journey with me, please feel free to subscribe. If you have something to add, if you have your own albums that you enjoy from 1975, please feel free to tell me what those are in the comment section down below. If you want to hear me talk about something other than music, I have a podcast with 2 of my buddies. It's called Dorkies. I will leave a link to the latest episode of that in the description down below. And if you want to hear what I happen to be listening to that day, you can follow me on Instagram. I will leave a link to that in the description down below. I post a song on my story there every single day. And 2026 is going to be slightly less active on this channel, and I will explain why. But, yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and with that, hope you had a good Christmas, and I hope you have a Happy New Year. I hope it's better than 2025, which, based on historical precedent, it honestly kind of should be, weirdly. But yeah, remember to stay weird and keep jamming. Take care.